Hey everyone, my name is Malin. I'm a senior in the SFS studying culture and politics with a minor in psychology, and I'm currently studying abroad in the Netherlands in a program called International Perspectives on Gender and Sexuality, and I'm super excited to show you my day studying in Amsterdam. Hey everyone, I just got back from the Fall Out Boy concert, so sorry that my voice is a little hoarse. But while I work on some Dutch homework and before I go to bed, I'm going to answer some of your questions. So if you have any on what it's like to study in Amsterdam, what the program is about, what it's like to live in a homestay, any of those things, please feel free, leave them right here and I will answer them. So the first question is for a picture of my homestay, which I will be showing in just a second. But I am in a homestay. I'm with a host mom. She is wonderful and lovely. We normally have dinner together. We didn't tonight because she was seeing family, but I love her so much. She has asked me not to share any pictures or videos of the apartment outside of my room, but it is lovely. I have no complaints living here. And it's also super conveniently located. It's only about a 35-minute commute via public transportation and then like a 25-minute bike ride to get into the center every day for classes, which is super nice. And it also is in a really cute neighborhood. There's tons of stuff to do here, and like there's a farmer's market that happens every Saturday. It's really great. But yeah, here is what my room looks like. So the next question is on my favorite memory so far, and the answer to this is kind of funny because it's not something that happened while I've been in Amsterdam. It actually was the 2-week trip that we took as part of the program to Morocco. So we got to go to Rabat, Chefchaouen, and Tangier to get a more international perspective on gender and sexuality. And we had a ton of super cool lectures and site visits to really get a more in-depth understanding on these things. And the country itself is absolutely beautiful. The food is delicious. I miss it so much already. And we were constantly together, those of us on the program, for 2 weeks, and that created a really fun opportunity for bonding that I'm super excited to keep going with in the last little bit of the program. But yeah, here are some pictures of what that experience looked like, and it definitely has been one of the highlights of my study abroad experience so far. The next question is on if it's been easy to make friends outside the program. So because we're studying at the School of International Training and not at a Dutch university, we have pretty limited contact with Dutch students or even other study abroad students. So in order to make those outside connections, you do have to put in a little bit more work. I personally feel very content and satisfied with the relationships that I've built with people in the program and haven't really felt the need to go out of my way to make other friends. But I know a lot of people here who have made those connections by chatting with people in cafes or when they go out, or even through dating apps and meeting people that way. So it definitely is possible to make friends outside of the program. So the next question is on if I find that the attitudes around gender and sexuality are different in Amsterdam, presumably compared to the US. And I think that the Dutch really pride themselves on being an inclusive culture, especially in regards to different genders and different sexualities. And I think that that's really evident in how people present here. And also there's just a ton of pride flags absolutely everywhere in Amsterdam. And there's also the red light district, which I think is way more open in regards to sexuality than anywhere else in the US. So that's been one of the biggest differences. But just as there are issues in the US, there are a lot of issues here in the conversations surrounding gender and sexuality. Particularly with intersectionality, race isn't really a thing that's talked about here. So while in the Netherlands it is more socially and more legally acceptable to have different genders and different sexualities, there's still a long way to go in the conversation. So those are all the questions that I have time for tonight, and that's just about all for me. Thank you all so much for coming along with me on my day in Amsterdam. If you want to learn more about what it's like to study here, I do have a travel account where I post daily-ish about what my life is like. There's also a lot about what I did in Morocco there, so you can go ahead and check that out if that's at all interesting to you. But thanks again for joining me, and I can't wait to see you all back on campus in the spring.